Hey, this is Bert, and today I have the third part in my series of every vintage Star Wars figure and its modern counterpart. This, of course, is going to be the Return of the Jedi section, and believe it or not, the Return of the Jedi section is a little more straightforward than the other two, either because a lot of these figures have definitive sculpts already done, or unfortunately, they only have one sculpt ever. So let's dive in. We'll start right here with Luke Skywalker. The best version of Luke Skywalker in his Jedi Knight outfit is Vintage Collection 175. But if you guys remember that figure I was telling you about earlier, the Luke Skywalker in the X-Wing gear, you could get him in that Comic-Con pack also. Okay, so, you know, that's an easy way to get him, especially he's been going up in price lately. Then we have another really rare Vintage Collection figure, and this is Nikto, okay, and he's Vintage Collection number 99. Then we have Princess Leia in her Bouche outfit, and Princess Leia in the Bouche outfit is Vintage Collection number 134. There's a Black Series one too. If you're just going to keep the helmet on, the Black Series 3.75 one isn't that bad. This one just has, you know, the photoreal face going on if you're going to have her helmet off. Next, after that, now we can get to Lando as the Skiff Guard, and that's Vintage Collection 144. One of my all-time favorite figures. Just love this guy. All right, moving on down, we have Skiff Guard Klaatu, and he was available as Vintage Collection number 135. Then we have just regular Klaatu right here. He's actually called Woof, and Woof is, or Woof? Woof? I don't know. He's got the extra O in there. I think that makes it Woof. But anyways, that's Vintage Collection number 24. Then we have talk about rare Vintage Collection figures. Here's Weequay, Vintage Collection number 107. Another one of their bests. Here's hoping that they remake him. All right, then we have Vintage Collection number 137. This is Reese. He was available in the Jabba Palace playset. Then we have, oh, so sad. It's a great figure for its time, but talk about somebody that really needs an update. This is Power of the Jedi Squid Head right here. He's called Tessic in the Power of the Jedi toy. Then we have what was known as the Rancor Keeper. He's now Melakili, and he is Legacy Collection. The droid number 22. Then we have the Imperial and Guard. He was available in the Black Series Jabba's Rancor Pit set. But the easiest way to find him nowadays is Vintage Collection number 21. Oh, another sad figure. I mean, he doesn't look that bad, but I'd love an update for this guy, especially since they've made very similar legs for the BGJ38 figure. They could really just reuse them. So this is Power of the Force 2 8D8 figure. All right, moving on down another level, we have Jabba the Hutt. I didn't actually have room to fit my modern Jabba the Hutt on there. You could go with the Black Series Jabba the Hutt and Rancor Pit version, though, if you wanted that. Then we have Bib Fortuna, and the best version of Bib Fortuna is the Saga Collection one, unfortunately. Very much in need of a new Bib Fortuna, please. Anytime now. Oh, man, and then we have the Max Rebo band. I did not find the best modern versions of them, partially because I feel like the Power of the Force 2 version of Droopy McCool still is too tall. He's supposed to be a shorter figure. Cy Snoodles, of course, the modern one is based on the special edition rather than the original version. And Max Rebo, I really want a Max Rebo where he's got the extra little kind of tube sticking out the side with a little mirror on the end. So that's why I don't have those guys. All right, moving on. We have the ATST driver, and he is going to be Vintage Collection number 192. That's not actually out yet. What I have here is ATST driver from the 2012 Endor ATST driver 2-pack. But just coming out this July, there's going to be a modern update. Really, the only difference that I could find is that he's got the photoreal face. Then we have the Biker Scout. For the Biker Scout, the best version is the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection version. There's a Black Series version that's pretty decent. And I think there's a new one coming out. The problem with the Black Series one is this articulation at the shoulder has they put the ring in black. They made it black, and so he's always got this black stripe on him. That's why I went with this one. But there's a new one coming out, and he actually, it's the Gaming Greats Biker Scout if you want to take off all the extra parts to him. But they did correct that. Then we have Emperor's Royal Guard, and he was available in the Black Series 3.75 inch and in the Vintage Collection, and he's getting a 2021 or 2021 re-release. So they're going to re-release him this year, supposedly with even better fabric. Okay, I'll be honest, I like this one a lot, and I do think he's the best version of the Emperor's Royal Guard, but I actually use a Force Link one in all my setups. Speaking of Force Link figures, this is really sad right here. I mean, the figure's great for 5 points of articulation, but it's sad that this is all we have for the Emperor. I mean, like the main bad guy of Return of the Jedi. And this is the figure that looks the most like him. This is, like I said, a Force Link 2 figure. Moving on, we have Princess Leia in the combat poncho. And this Princess Leia is from the Vintage Saga collection, but she is going to be done much better in just July of this year in the Vintage collection. They haven't released the number for her yet. And the same is true of Han Solo in the trench coat. This one is the Black Series one. Some people would say the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection one, or the Vintage Saga Collection one rather, is better because he's got the pockets on his thing. But you know what? Don't bother with either of those because the newest one that's coming out later this year promises to be better than both of those. And they're also going to make Logray again later this year. He's Vintage Collection number 55. I don't feel like the update is that much better than this guy, but you could get that one if you wanted to. And speaking of figures that are getting a modern or re-release, this is Admiral Akbar, and he is also going to be re-released this year. And the best Admiral Akbar one, you could get the Black Series 3.75 inch figure, or you could get Vintage Collection number 22. Then we have General Madine, and you know, they're gonna remake him in the Vintage Collection because they gotta. They haven't done him yet. This one right here is the original trilogy collection. And, you know, just another one of those figures that's perfectly fine by me as it is, but I know they're going to remake him. Then we have Pruneface. And Pruneface is actually called Ora Marco in his modern Vintage Collection version. And Ora Marco here is Vintage Collection number 114. Really nice figure there. Oh, talk about sad. Here we have the Endor Rebel Soldier. And you know what? I got to say there's been a lot of really nice Endor Rebel Soldiers, including 2 in the Vintage Collection. But none of them is the full green camo jumpsuit like the original Vintage figure, except for this Power of the Force one and one other one where he's got an alternate head. And I'm using this one just because the face sculpt looks more like the original Vintage one. But yeah, this is a Power of the Force 2 figure. Really, 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 really needs an update. I would just love to see this guy with the kind of articulation and detail that the other Vintage Collection Endor figures have. Then we have Nyenyum. That's at least what I call him. I don't know how to say that name. He's Vintage Collection number 106. Real hard to find one there. And then we're going to go to the Ewoks. First off is Wicket W. Warwick. He's Vintage Collection number 27. And I have like the 2010 version. There is a 2020 version that is supposedly a little bit better, but I don't believe it. Okay, then we have Chief Chirpa, one of the first modern scaled Ewoks, where all the rest of them were a little bit taller, and he was a Saga Collection figure. Then we have Tebow, and he also is getting a re-release this year. He came out in the Toys R Us multi-pack. The Vintage Collection one is going to look very similar. So if you didn't get that multi-pack and you just want Tebow out of it, you could maybe wait for that. That's coming out soon. Then we have one of the very best Ewoks, but a really hard one to find. This is Lumot, and he is Vintage Collection number 104. Then we have Poplu. This Poplu is from the Legacy Collection, and he is being redone. And, you know, there's some argument about whether the redone version is actually any better. I do like the fact that the redone version, the Vintage Collection one, even though they're just using the Lumot sculpt for the body and face, I like that the hood has like the extra feathers kind of sticking up that this one doesn't really have. Then we have the B-Wing pilot. And my B-Wing pilot, he's vintage collection number 63. So that wraps up the last of the Return of the Jedi figures. Tune in, like and subscribe so you know when I do my most expensive follow-up and conclusion to this series, the Power of the Force line, like the original 1985 Power of the Force. So I'll see you then. Have a good one.